Mnemonic. Please allow me to switch back to the page that I was looking at where I obtained the information, which was from Merriam-Webster's. And it is a word 1. Assisting or intended to assist memory. To distinguish principle from principle, use the mnemonic aid. The principle is your pal. Also, we're relating to mnemonics. We're relating to memory was the second definition.
Mnemonically.
Adverb. Mnemonic noun. Mnemonic device or code. Mnemonic. Having the same meaning as mnemonic. It's a memory device. People that pronounce it mnemonic read things and see it in letters and words. And so the correct word being mnemonic or mnemonics is simply the way that you say it, absent the text, the letters. Soundexing simply using letters or using emojis. It's an idea I came up with. Normally you would use soundexing with numbers. I'm not going to do it that way for a purpose. For starters, I think it's better to have something that's human readable so that if you're going to be using the N sound, as in November, you will simply use a capital N. If you want to use an emoji, find something that begins with the letter N in the English language and do it that way. So what would you use? Yeah, that's the tricky part. Maybe something like a bird's nest, so nest. The other thing about soundexes is you only use the consonant sounds. So you would use only the consonants and not the vowels. So you would not have to be adding the vowels. But that's the secret sauce, if you will, regarding soundexing. So the name Eugene, well, that's kind of a tricky name. The beginning part of Eugene is vowel sound. So yes, Eugene. So the next part would be that G sound or J sound and N. So you would simply use a J and an N, capital J and N, which interestingly enough also equates to John. Ooh, but that's how soundexing works. Huh. And where soundexing has been used in the past, most of the time is in family tree research. So you're doing family history, and it is often time that the name is not spelled correctly or a different way. It's probably spelled correctly according to the person that spelled it. And the only difference is that it's spoken a different way. So yeah, soundexing is a way of fixing that. So ordinarily, in most soundexing systems, you assign a number to one of the consonant sounds. You also play by the rules, and you only have 3 numbers. So anything else after that, too bad. You can't use it. And I believe the rule is that, like for the JN that I just used, you'd have to use another letter or some identifier to keep it in the frame of 3 digits or 3 characters. And I suppose it's a good reason for having 2 names or even 3 names, so you do not misapply it to the wrong person. Maybe we need a second example. So let's try a word. Kilimanjaro. Let's see. And I'm trying to do this without looking at it. So it's all in my head, so wish me luck. K L M N J Kilimanjaro. All right. And if it's simply audio, there's no video, the only visual is going to be the name of the file or the title. So that's where you're going to be using these most of the time. And like I say, you would come up with your equivalents of emojis if you wanted a picture language, which I find interesting. It is really what matters most to you and the other people that you interact with, I suppose. A lot of them are not even going to accept this at all. This is simply, I suppose, for educational purposes and understanding the ideas of ways of coming up with new ideas and new ways of using words and sounds. And yeah. So that's all I've got to add here. Thanks for listening. I am Eugene, the son of Douglas. Will there ever come a time when, through artificial intelligence or something like it, that we can simply speak to a computer or a device? Hopefully it's not to a whole computer. Maybe we can speak to a device, an Android maybe, yes, where that we can just simply speak to it and it understands what we're saying. And if it does not understand it first, like, what did you say? It will ask us, could you speak it clearly or say it a different way? And at some point it will understand, it'll get the point. And will we ever come to a point to where that a written language is not required or not used the way it used to be? That if things in writing would be mainly for computers and computer code, will there ever come a time? The reason I ask it is for, well, most recently I encountered the word mnemonics, which I had always called mnemonics. It is a totally different word. So if you tried to look up the word mnemonics with your voice, it would of course give you the correct word, like from a dictionary or definition, if you're talking to artificial intelligence, because it's taken what you're saying directly to the meaning, which is a memory device that a person can use. That's what a mnemonic is. It's ridiculous for someone to have to point out to another that, oh, the spelling of that is, the M is silent. Well, that's just ridiculous. You know, it just is really silly that you have to do that. The word is mnemonic or mnemonics. The hell, yeah. So yeah, will we ever get to the point where that we can just simply speak what is on our mind without necessarily going to the spelling? I have to wonder. It's like, will we ever make it there? And it is because we're so tied to the visual universe and things that we see. Yeah, that's always the go-to. Anyway, I will continue to talk about this probably in, I don't know, To what end? Well, hopefully to the end that we get it worked out, or that I get it worked out without having to cower back once again and be a good little boy and, yes, play along. Please play along with the program. Yeah. That's just not me. Okay. Anyway, thanks for listening.